Hello, my name is Brayanoski.
And I'm Austin Morales, and you're watching The Inner Gamer On.
And today we'll be talking about some updates coming to Anthem about a positive look into the loot system. They're changing up the way that they handle it to make it more rewarding and hopefully more valuable and better drops and less randomization. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening to it that has a positive look in the future of what Anthem could be. So we're going to talk about it. Some of us agree, some of us disagree, but it's a very good discussion. So stay tuned. Here we go. Let's do this. Dive in. Let's jump in. Let's Iron Man in. Yeah.
And as always, if you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, and bang that bell, cause you know you want to.
So speaking of a game that is getting some updates, Anthem, I had to talk about this because I want Anthem to succeed, you know? Like I want them to do something and I want them to exist because I like the gameplay. And they've been kind of throwing a little teases out there of what they're doing. They brought out some tease of like some like pirate like faction thing that exists. That's kind of an interesting like story beat deal going on. But they've just recently launched a blog article with the studio director Christian Daly talking about their changes to their loot system and how they fell short with their loot system and how they're going to make it better and fix it. So this is coming from GameSpot, and they say that the new loot system is going to, quote, respect your time and embrace choice, create a rewarding loot experience, and keep it accessible and immediate, among other things.
Okay.
So in the future, you can expect a higher frequency of loot drops that contain items that are better across the board. Additionally, they're planning to give players the ability to seek out specific loot instead of relying on randomness, which for me is huge because after us going back to Destiny last week, pisses me off that I get 10,000 the same effing 1,000 power things from every single freaking mission.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want just powerful gear. I want to know what I'm going to get. Pissed off. Anyway, so this is going to tell you what you're going to get, which is cool. There'll be specific quests and specialized vendors that players can engage with to find the loot that they want. Mm-hmm. Additionally, they're shaping the new loot experience to make the drops more exciting and notable, with the developer adding, quote, rare enemies that drop a lot of rare loot at once. The new system will also give players the ability to see and equip the loot right away. Additionally, a new equipment sheet will be added that shows what you have equipped. They're also planning for the new loot system to scale for the future and scale when the power cap rises. There are all the changes in the early days, but they're making changes to the gameplay also to make the game feel more responsive, adding that the enemies will react to hits near instantly thanks to advancements made on the client side, and then looking into the roles of melee items and builds, and of course being able to spend skill points to unlock new types of equipment and synergies. So a lot of new things that they're looking to change and update regarding loot and upgrades and scalability as the game changes. And I like it. I'm excited. Looks like they've changed the UI a little bit too, which I don't know if this is like live or if this is just like a preview of what it's going to look like, but
yeah. I mean, it's positive, but we need to see it in action.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, at this point, how many people are playing Anthem?
They're not. That's the point. They're trying to get people to play Anthem. So they're putting time into it.
I understand why they want to do it, but at this point, all the things that are out, who's going to come back to this game?
Hey, look at No Man's Sky, man.
Anybody.
Look at No Man's Sky.
Yeah,
it was the biggest disaster in the world. And then it came back, and now it's one of the biggest games online. I mean, people they even had freaking Steam change their refund policy for this game.
I know.
And now it's huge.
I know. Let's take a look. No Man's Sky. Oh, damn it.
It can happen.
I know it can happen, but I just don't think it's worth it at this point.
Yeah. I do. I mean, this is one of the games that I want to succeed. Like, I want them to do well. It's just like Breakpoint. Like, I didn't think I'd like Breakpoint, and then eventually they fixed things enough to where I'm like, okay, I can come back to this game, and I love it. I put a lot of time into it, and I would like to go back to Anthem because I think it still is one of the best looking games on consoles.
What's the website for daily users on Steam?
It doesn't exist anymore. It got killed off.
What?
Yeah, Steam Spy. You can't. They don't. They shut that shit down. They were like, "Fuck this. We're not going to allow this," and they shut it down.
Well,
Yeah, Steam
I'm curious
Spy
to
was a
see-
thing, and then now it doesn't exist.
I'm curious to see.
They
what,
locked him out.
That sucks. Curious to see
Yeah.
what No Man's Sky's average daily users are at this point.
An article recently came out about it. It was I want to say like 15 million people or something like that.
Yeah. Well, at a certain point, you just got to kill a game. Like, there's no reason to keep it going. Like, at this point, just make Anthem 2.0. If no one's playing your game, why are you wasting your resources on this when you could be, putting these resources somewhere else? And this is the thing. Like, you have this game as a service that you feel like you have to keep up with at this point. Like, you made a commitment. And I do appreciate these big AAA studios, like, keeping their commitment to making these games bigger and better and continuing on and stuff. But at certain points, like, look, you failed, okay? Yeah, there's a way to bring it back. But sometimes it's not worth it. Like, No Man's Sky, like, I'm surprised people came back to that. Maybe, like, I'm curious to see the timeline of, like, when things were being dropped. Maybe, timing is everything. So maybe they dropped this during a time where, like, nobody, like, they update it. No one's really playing anything right now. Maybe it's a time to jump back into Anthem, possibly. Yeah. But I don't know. For me, it's just kind of like, let's just move on. There's so many other things to play right now.
Yeah. I mean, there is, but like, EA, they don't have a game like this right now. I mean, they have Apex Legends, but they're looking for a live service game. I think that'll help them. And I mean, I think they fucked up with Anthem for sure. Like, they really screwed up on a lot of the pieces, but I think the core systems that exist there are good, and then they can still improve the story and make that better and make a game like for me, this isn't a game to throw away. Like, I think there's potential here, and I think they can push it forward. They just need to, if they have the ability to put money towards it and make it better, like, I'm for it, because I think they had a really great concept. I mean, they had an idea that at its core, like, the feeling of being Iron Man was really solid, and that was fun. And like the shooting mechanics and stuff like that, I really enjoyed. It's just that there wasn't a good loot system, and then the story wasn't fantastic, but that stuff can be fixed. And there was no story in No Man's Sky when it first came out. Now they have like a freaking 20-hour, 30-hour epic story campaign that they put into it, so they were able to like flip that around. So I think this game's salvageable. But I just don't know if it will. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they can take it. But I mean, I think
time will tell. But
I think they should rename it, though, kind of like what Destiny did. I mean, they came out with Destiny 2 for a reason and labeled it a 2, and now like Destiny 2 is going to be the thing that exists. So maybe they should do a Anthem 2 or an Anthem Rebirth or something like that. That's a new name.
Well, it's definitely no Destiny, because obviously Destiny came back with Destiny 2 in a big way. Still had issues, lots of issues, but I mean, I don't see people, like, even if they were to make like Anthem 2 or Anthem 2, who's going to want to buy that after this, Who's really going to want to buy that?
Well, I would. I'd buy it day one if it's good.
All right, so it's 50-50.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, I know
I would
Jason
be
would
very
too.
hesitant.
I mean, Jason liked it. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of people that would buy it, I think. I mean, there's a fan base there.
Oh, I totally agree.
It's not to the...
But there's a lot of people who are fans that end up dropping off because of things that they would do. And it's just like, I don't see those people who were actually dedicated to this game coming back even after they fix it. It's a possibility. I'm sure some will, but I don't think it's a majority of their core base.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't much of a core base to begin with, so...
Exactly.
There wasn't much there. So, but I think that's why that's a positive, because there's so much room to improve in that world. And it's like, I mean, look at Sea of Thieves. It had a really bad launch and was not at all what people thought it would be. And then here we are a couple years later, and it's one of the top games on Steam.
It's true.
And doing really, really well. And that was a game that, by all means, was not going to succeed. I mean, we were talking back then that they should kill that game, and then we were done with it. And here we are, and it's like they've added to it, they've built upon it and grown it, and it's got a really strong community. Ghost Recon or Rainbow Six Siege, when that game came out, didn't do well. It took a year for that game to really find its footing. And that's just been a weird common thing with all these like live service games, is that they launch, they're not great, they listen to the community, they figure out how to change it, and then they adapt. And Not saying that this one can or will. I mean, Mass Effect Andromeda, like they killed that, which was smart. They should have just killed it because it just wasn't good. But this game at its core still has a lot of good things writing for it that I don't think they should just throw it away. Yet. Whereas Andromeda, I was like, yeah, this needs to be trashed. Like it's just, there's no fixing this at this point.
I guess I'm more upset about the trend that has been with something like that. It comes out shitty, you spend $60 on it, and you have to wait freaking 3-4 years before it's actually decent to play.
Right.
And it's like someone needs to feel the brunt of that failure. And, you know, for better or worse, yeah, these games have come back, and, you know, good for them. People have jobs, people are working on them. You know, that's positive. People are enjoying them. That's positive too. But it's just like, can we not bring a game out that's actually well polished these days?
Yeah,
it's a AAA title.
That's the big thing. The big part of the conversation is just that, you know, I want this to succeed. I think it can succeed because we've seen it happen before. But at the same time, it's like this is becoming too common of a trend that needs to definitely change. And I think what Grounded is doing, you know, where they dropped it early at, like this Anthem should have been early access. They should not have released this as a full version title. That I think is what killed this game for it. Same with No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky should not have launched as a full 1.0 release. It should have been, look at Deep Rock. Deep Rock is a fantastic example of the right way to handle a game like this. Because that was an experiment. They didn't really know what they were doing with it. They brought it out early access 2 years in advance and like said, hey, here's our new idea of procedural generation, all this stuff. And they built it up, and then now 1.0 is out, and it's awesome. And, you know, we as community members like joined early, gave feedbacks, stuff like that to improve it. Divinity Original Sin, I mean, too, that was early access game for a long time, and that helped them out a lot. So I think that's kind of what they need to lean into is like do a early access game preview kind of situation, and that'll make a difference. But they just didn't make that choice this time.
No, it's a AAA game, so it's got to come out as a AAA game.
Yeah. It's crazy. And then that E3 demo definitely didn't help.
They pulled a Halo 2.